Hey Mati, long time no see.
So, brother, hi. Good to see you.
I have this mission to find interesting things that is happening in like around me, around people that I work with.
And you found me.
And I found you because you posted something really interesting on one of the chats that you built a tool that allows because you had a certain problem and you built a certain solution to that problem. And this solution is quite complex and impressive. And it allows people to migrate Notion. I mean, it helps in migration of Notion to other tools like ClickUp, like some other knowledge base solutions if you want to resign from Notion. But it also allows you to monitor what's going on in Notion and also maybe clean up a little bit Notion from time to time and also monitor who's the best author, who like which pages have have the highest number of views or like things like that. And I would love to see that in action and how it works, and also what was the problem, and it would be great if you could show us how the tool works.
So yeah, I did create that tool. It was created due to the need I had. As you know, we are shifting from our current tool stack, which is basically mostly Asana and Notion. We are shifting towards ClickUp to have like everything under one roof. But the tool itself, I would put it that way. The main feature of that tool is to create the Notion pages structure and be able to easily define like which one are not used and which one are to archive, and actually archive them within the tool itself. So that was for me the issue I encountered like while trying to switch to ClickUp, because at our organization having 80 plus people, we encountered the issue that like over the time Notion developed to around 16,000 subpages, which is a nightmare if you think about it, that you want to transfer it to some other tool. And my goal was to not to just like copy paste everything we have in Notion, but to make the like tidy up the Notion and clean up and define basically what we want to put into the Notion, what we want to feed into ClickUp, what we want to feed into ClickUp AI.
Because as I assume, like many tools allow you to to move all this data from point A to point B, let's say to ClickUp. But the question is not about whether you can do it or not. There are many solutions to do that. It's what you want to move from point A to point B, because like
Exactly.
especially since Notion AI was launched and also ChatGPT, a lot of hallucinated content in many companies was created. Also, people create templates, copy of templates, and copies of copies, and so on and so on. And they create a lot of chaos and basically garbage. So, as the famous saying says, garbage in, garbage out. So, the point of your tool is to fix Notion, to clean it from all the garbage, all the unnecessary pages, all of the empty pages, all of the things that people don't use actually, and make it ready for the transition.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly. Well put,
Okay.
well put. So I would put it that way. It's easy from the technical perspective to make the transition to just like copy paste it, some structure, page structure into another tool. It's easy. But as you said, the things that we are mostly missing is the like being able to define what we want to paste, right? And we are humans. We create garbage. Like we make garbage. That's our nature, unfortunately. And the same applies to digital tools as well, right? So
And companies usually are made of people, and that means that
exactly.
on the outside, companies are very organized. The marketing presents the page, and the company is really, really, well structured and organized. But inside, especially if they use tools like Google Drive, Notion, Asana, there are like any tools like that. There's a lot of chaos, a lot of mess behind.
Yeah, exactly. Like the same applies to us as well. Like I consider us as a highly organized structure, highly organized people, but like we're not the hive mind, right? We have the playbooks, we have SOPs, we have best practices, but still, like people are super creative in bypassing the procedures, for example, or super creative in using the tools, for example, Notion, in the terms that like not supposed to be used. But the Notion itself is also super flexible, and it allows you to actually like implement pages within pages within pages within pages, etc. So Notion being so elastic to every basically user also like amplifies the problem in terms of for the organization. So my tool, once again, going back to the tool from the human psychology, tool itself helps you to actually create the whole structure of your Notion pages within your Notion workspace and easily tag which subpages are the best candidates to archive them, like by simply marking them with the checkbox. You can just click archive and that's pretty much it. So it actually cuts dozens of hours into, I don't know, like an hour task for you, not counting the time that the script needs to actually get the whole structure into one place. So
one side you see on one side you see pages to be removed, on the other side you see pages and people that actually create pages that are used and SOPs that are visited and pages that are visited and used in practice. So let's jump in. Let's see how it works. Maybe let's walk us through the process from the beginning till the end. Maybe if someone would like to see the output, I think that they can skip that part and go to the end of the video to see what's the final output of the work. But like I encourage everyone to go through the process to see how it works.
or I will do it the other way and show you the output right now.
Okay,
straight away.
Let's do it this way then.
So one thing to mention, I've created the copy of the file with the dummy data for you for this presentation, because honestly, due to the legal things, I cannot share all the details and there are some client names, etc. NDAs.
Yeah.
So okay, let's jump into the tool itself. Okay, so let's start from the end. So what's the outcome? What's the end of this tool? Basically, what you get at the end of the process, it's a 7-step process, 7-step tool. You get this file, basically. So you get the Notion workspace structure with, as you can see, you can easily define what is nested, which page is nested under which one, and you can easily by emojis and reading the legend define like which ones are the dead branches. So that means that basically there's nothing inside, no text, no subpages, anything within it. So you can easily define it as a page to archive, or you've got some rating in here. So you've got the low candidate, medium, strong, and top candidate for archivization, for archiving. And the last step is that you, seeing the structure, you can decide like which pages should be archived. So for example, you define that those pages are no longer needed in your Notion, and you simply click archived mark pages. That's it. So that's the output.
So in our instance, what you had in here was 16,000 pages, and out of that, probably 15,000 pages with clearly defined data, like how many views they had, how many children subpages they had, like titles and everything. You were able to to click 15,000 and then click please archive all that. Is it like
more or less
correct?
More or less. More or less. I would
That
put it that
saved
way.
you probably a lot of time.
Well, imagine that. Like how much time you think you would need to have to define, to see every page or out of the 16,000 pages within Notion and decide whether you want to archive it or not? That's the one thing. And the second thing is like, imagine manually archiving everything, every page you want to, out of those 15,000, imagine archiving it manually. That would be a nightmare. I would consider it even that it will be impossible.
I think that people probably would abandon Notion
Yeah.
and start from scratch with clean slate in the new tool.
Exactly.
And just maybe copy and paste manually maybe 10 or 100 pages that they think that are the most important.
So generally speaking, this tool allows you to cut this time needed to, in our instance, to archive 15,000 pages into 1 hour of your time. And let me show you step by step, more or less. Of course, I'm not going to go wait till the data will populate. That's why we are working on dummy data today. How are you going to spend this 1 hour by using this tool? So first of all, you start here. That's the document I've wrote for you as a as an instruction, I recommend you to open it as a preview, because then you've got it under within one area of space, working space. So that's easier. And like here, you've got the guided, you've got a guided step-by-step approach on how to use the tool. So I put an effort to actually for everyone who would use it, to to be as clear and as easy as possible. So after you read it through, you basically can start with the tool, but it's super simple. It's just one menu for operating the whole tool, and it's divided into 7 steps. So it's super easy. You just do step by step by step by step. That's it. First step is initialize workspace. It's basically the script that will prepare all the sheets below and all the structures below for you to work. And you end up at the config sheet. And you've got some data to actually fill out. So the first one and the most important one is the Notion API key. After finishing this step, you will get the dialog window with information how to get the Notion API key. So don't worry, like there's step-by-step instruction on how to get it and how to properly copy paste it in here. Then, which is super important, you need to pick the Google Workspace type, because if you have free Google Gmail account, that means the script can only work for 6 minutes. That's the maximum time for within the app script, right? If you have a paid Google Workspace, then it means the script can work for 30 minutes, and it changes the whole script how it operates, because it has to basically cut the whole procedure, the whole action into some chunks, right? I told you we had like over 16,000 Notion pages, and it took me to actually scrape all the information, all the basic structure of those pages. It took me more than 20 hours, around 25, I guess. So that's super important for letting the script know if you are a paid Google user or free. Yeah, and that's pretty much it on the first step. The second step is verify API key. So when you paste the API key here, basically before it jumps into this huge task of creating the whole structure of the Notion Notion workspace, it checks on like some test data that is the connection, checks if the connection is valid. Then the third step is actually when the magic starts to happen, right? So that's the run scanner find IDs. So it's starting to populate this sheet, and this populated with the basic data about the IDs, type of the page, the page name, parent ID, and parent type. And this is important to have like parent ID and the page ID, because when you know the ID of the parent page, then you can create the structure when you see which pages are nested within the like parent page, right? And that's important because, for example, you can define that, okay, based on the information I have, this side is probably, this page is unused, so maybe I should archive it. But you know that within the SEO knowledge base folder or parent page, you don't want to archive anything. So it actually helps you to make this decision, right? If you see that's what's nested inside.
Makes
Going
sense.
back to the list. Going back to the list. So just a quick heads up, 16,000 pages. It takes a lot of time. So depending on your Notion workspace, it might take a while to actually scrape all the pages. But I've tried to create the script so it would be a bulletproof. So even if it encounters some kind of error, it will restart once again to pick up from the spot it ended up. So like I wanted to make the script like to work continuously. And sometimes the errors might occur, and every error is basically logged here, so you can see all the errors that happened in the dedicated spreadsheet. Then Also, it's important to see the stats as well. Like within the stats, that's actually basically the one sheet that you look into when you want to know, like, okay, where are we at? So for example, you've got here step 7 completed, 973 out of 973 pages archived, right? So if we are on the step 3, so it means that we are building up the list, then you will see probably here a current status step 3 in progress, and the information about the last update of that info. So that will give you an information if we are still within the process or something just happened broken, right? Then you've got the enrich page data, which is super important because like the structure itself and the information that you have pages, let me hide this. The information that you basically have there's some kind of pages with some kind of ID and their parent page is basically a bit useless, right? Because if you have a robust Notion workspace, then it means like basically like you are unable to define straight away which page you should actually archive or which one should be transferred to another tool in our case, for example, right? So the next step is enrich page data. So that's a step when you fill out those data. So the script checks if the page is empty, if there are any subpages within the given space, given page, when was it last edited, and days since last edit. So this gives you an information: is the page empty? Are there any like subpages you need to look for, or is the page old, basically, right? The next one is a step which I call the like additional feature, because basically with all the information you have in here, you can already decide which ones you would like to archive, which ones you want to keep, right? Does
Yep,
it make
makes
sense, Rado?
sense. Yeah, absolutely.
But if you want to dig deeper and like enrich the data even further, for me, like the number one information was basically if we're getting any views from this page for the last 90 days. 90 days is the maximum window I could get from the Notion. So it needs some like additional configuration. So for example, we are not using anymore the official API key. We need to actually get the cookie token, so the private API, let's call it that way, right? To be able to pull that data.
So what it means is that you basically grant the tool the access to your session inside of the tool, so that because the tool doesn't have like the API connection doesn't allow you to pull some of the data, and you can extract this data by granting the access to your user session inside of Notion and populating that with some additional data. I guess
Exactly.
that any SaaS tool out there doesn't have that data because I don't know. I mean, based on my knowledge, like tools like that, they don't they don't take user sessions and scrape results.
Exactly. So from my perspective, SaaS tools need to operate on the official API public data they can extract, right? But we are more flexible as an user. If we are just using it for our workspace, I'm not actually, I'm not a SaaS. I'm not getting the data. Like I'm not managing the data you as an user of that tool. So if you'd like to use my tool for your purposes, Rado, I would have no clue how does it look like. I don't have an access to. You just like create a copy basically of my tool. So I don't see your tokens. I don't see your private API. Right?
Yeah, so what you're trying to say is that it's absolutely safe to share that data with the scripts and the solution because it's standalone. Basically, you just copy the
Exactly.
spreadsheet together with all the scripts, with all the setup, with all the instructions, and it's all stored locally in your Gmail account or in your Google Workspace account, and it's absolutely separate from you. So there is no flow of any
Exactly.
data, any information to you. That's
Exactly.
pretty safe. That's actually means that anyone can use it.
Exactly. You just copy the tool with the script, and it works locally on your Google Drive. So I have no clue what you're doing with that.
That's awesome.
So if we want to enrich data further, then we can fetch page views, as I told you, after the configuration. Of course, you are also guided step by step with the instruction here, how to do it. And then it basically fetches the views within 90 days and the unique views within 90 days for the page, which is a for me, super important information about the activity being held on this particular site, right? After that, you create the workspace health analysis, which is the step number 6, which basically is this view. Based on the information that are within the ID list, the script creates the visual presentation of that data in here. And as I told you on the very beginning, it marks down like the top, strong, medium, and low candidate for archiving, and helps you to understand which pages are nested within which one. Just to give you some more information about how does this rating works, you basically are getting like 4 points. Let's put it that way. As a site, as a page, you're getting 4 points. Like based on the configuration, those are the 4 points that are being checked. So you can earn 1 point if you have if you had less views within 90 days than 5. If you as a page were not updated within 180 days or more, and if there is no children pages within your structure, or you're an empty page. So then you get the 4 points, and then it means you are a top candidate to archive. Basically, that's pretty much it. And the last step I already told you about. You just simply pick what pages you'd like to archive, either by criteria in here, or by like simply manually go through the list and decide and just click archived marked pages. That's it.
I see this tool as not only a cleanup tool, or but rather a monitoring tool as well, because you can also pin down who are the best authors instead of a bigger. Let's imagine an organization that has like 500 people. It's a great source of like identifying creators that create things that are very useful. Let's say SOP or some kind of template, and they create it, and then you can maybe monitor and extend it by like who actually manages that. You can see a lot and map a lot of connections between people inside of the project, like who actually improve the way how services, how the company operates basically, and how they care about improving the efficiency. So that's one thing to maybe to see that this tool could evolve into that direction, not only cleaning up and trimming unnecessary pages and making sure that some of the pages are used, because people, when they go into Notion, they don't know which pages are used, which aren't used. It's all flat.
That's true.
It's really unclear what are the most beaten paths instead of how they move around, which pages are visited the most. Like this Notion lacks that capability. And I think that also analytics, like not only cleaning up, but also monitoring, but also analytics and just knowing how many views pages have. So yeah, a couple of other implementations could I see a couple of other use cases basically for that tool.
Well, I'm super open to develop that tool if it will be helpful for anyone. I'm super open to just like chat and define if we can easily implement that functionality. So for example, you said about the authors, right? We could pull out from the API who has created the particular page, right? And define based on the views within last 90 days who is the most read author, for example, or who has created the most of the Notion workspace, and etc. So basically, as in everything, like the possibilities are kind of endless. So all you need to do is to like define what you would like to do, and either contact me if you'd like, or just like feel free to dig into your clone of your tool as well. So definitely, like under this video, I assume we will get some contact info to me on the tool itself. So you, whoever is watching, if you'd like to have a chat or use the tool itself, just like feel free.
The tool is to the tool could be found in the description, right? People are allowed to copy the tool. It's be of course great if they would donate as a thank you something to you, so that you could have a signal that this tool is used, so that you could even update that tool in the future and maybe develop it. even further. And like if someone has any needs, any consultation regarding any migration from not only Notion but also other tools, I think that your mindset is great to basically to tackle any tool, any problem out there. And I guess you're open to basically just in case, seeing if you can be helpful.
Well, the features I showed you is like there are like two types of features within that tool. The ones are the basic ones which you can use and copy paste the tool itself and use for free, and the additional ones are you will get the instruction after the like the 15 euros donation, and I believe that's a fair price because I've spent hours to do so, and it will definitely save you hours, if not 100 of hours. So I assume for me itself, this tool would save if I would buy it, like it would save me hundreds of hours. I also, because like honestly, before I started to create that tool, I just like Googled my problem and tried to find out the solution. And basically, there's only one tool I found that seems to be some kind of connection between the Google Sheet and the Notion, but it's more about the updating databases, etc. Probably there is some archiving feature as well, but like I didn't dig into it because also it's a subscription tool, so you need to pay like I don't know 20 or 30 bucks a month or so, and I believe that it doesn't this tool doesn't actually respond to my needs, so that's why I decided to create it by myself, and I believe it might be useful to anyone as well who has a Notion. I would even say that like if you have a Notion, you will probably get some value from that tool. I'm 99% sure about that.
I am 95% sure that every company that uses Notion, even small one like 3-5 people, trimming down, cleaning up from time to time. So basically, since it's almost free, 5 euros, just donate.
It's
It
just a
makes sense.
coffee for me, so
Yeah,
I would be really happy if I would see this tool helps you out in your organization. I would drink a coffee for you. It will.
and it will be a signal that
Thank you.
the world needs more tools like that, niche tools that solve very niche problems. Thanks a lot, Mati. It's an awesome tool, and
You're welcome.
yeah,
Thank you.
see you in the next video.
It's
Bye.
good to be useful for others. Thank you. Bye.